Hey kiddies, Jester here, and welcome back to the court. Now this one's going to get very serious. It's probably, if you can guess from the title of this episode, you may want to back away now if you don't want to get involved in quite serious debate. But if you are interested and you've got an opinion you want to share, no matter what side it's on, please stick with us. Okay, so recently there's been this big furore and hullabaloo in Russia about gay rights. Now I don't get the specifics of why it's happening over there, if it's political or if it's actually like a group, a pocket within the culture society that have a genuine claim against what's going on. But either way, it's a topic that needs discussing. And as ever, these arguments always pop up, arguments and debates, I would like to say, pop up on the internet as not the least of which of the mediums that it appears on. And yes, I do realise that I'm fueling this fire and will probably make some enemies on both sides and what I've got planned to say here, but I feel it needs to be said. Anyway, you go out there onto the internet and you see videos and comments about this kind of stuff popping up all over the show, and you have to admit that no matter what side the person commenting is on, both sides have their idiots, and both sides do have their articulate commenters. People who actually can put together a feasible argument. I say feasible, but bear with me with what I mean there. No matter what side, they both have their fools and they both have their, people who seem to know what they're talking about. Now, I want to say right now, after I've said that I am on the side of pro-gay rights. I'd like to believe that our society is at a point now where such bigotry and prejudice is behind us. Unfortunately, it seems that that belief is wrong. I am mistaken in my view that this world is in what I would believe, in my opinion, to be decent. Now, you'll notice I use words like view and opinion there. That's despite my wish that homosexuals never may have to suffer inequality in the way they do now, or at least a lot less, because let's face it, there are still pockets of racism and all that kind of thing out there, even to this day. Despite that sincere hope, I cannot too severely attack someone who simply believes something different to me. I mean, I will judge you, I happen to think you're wrong, but I can't attack you. An opinion is opinion, no matter how you look at it. The distinction in these kinds of topics, I feel, is in whether that opinion remains an opinion or if it becomes something that somebody then decides to enforce through law, religion, writ, whatever. Or can they respect that just because they have that belief, no matter where its origins come from, that they can respect, much as I would hope I am doing for them, respect that my opinion is different to theirs. Now I can hear the comment area already tip-tapping away with comments about how just because it's an opinion doesn't mean it's right. And I get where you're coming from. A racist who doesn't act on their prejudices and just thinks them is still a racist. A murderer who has violent thoughts but never acts on them is still dangerous. But, loath as I am to say this topic, at least in our current climate, is a little bit different. Hopefully one day things will change, just like they have in the past, and homosexuals will have all the rights they deserve, just like every other person on the planet. One day we'll look back at this episode in our development as a society and compare it kind of to, the times of racism and times of genocide. Now again, do you see there? Very different degree of severity here. Yes, it's wrong that their rights are being trampled on, but it is not, even so, it's not the entire subjugation or destruction of a race or group. Now, I don't really want to compound this already very volatile discussion by adding another hot topic, no, not the store, but unfortunately it plays into it quite heavily. Religion. Nearly every argument on the side of anti-gay rights ends up turning to or quoting religion. And before anyone rages, no, I'm not going to attack religion or anyone who happens to follow any particular religion. If you have a genuine faith or belief in something you have taken from the religion that plays into this argument, I cannot in good conscience then argue with you, because much in the same way as a gay person's belief that they should be able to be with another man or woman, it is your right to believe that your God, if you believe in him, tells you that that is wrong. Like I said, I don't agree with you, but this is your belief, this is your opinion. It would be hypocritical of me to fight for their equality and their beliefs if I'm willing to trample yours. I will, however, attack those who use religion as a veil for their own personal views and beliefs. If this is a person who simply thinks homosexuals should not have these rights, and they don't base that in religion but use religion as a weapon, that is a very different matter. It's a tricky distinction to make because you can never argue with an individual whether they truly believe in their religion or if they're using their religion to shield. But the way I see it is the big distinction you can make is whether that person holds their belief in themselves because of their religion, and then whether they keep it that way or if they then try to enforce that on others. I was raised Catholic, I know the Bible fairly well, and yes, I know it says a lot of things about homosexuals that many of its followers, readers, believers interpret in very many different ways. It is true there are passages that speak of God's, if you believe in him, wish for homosexuals not to act upon their desires. But the Bible also says one should treat others as they would like to be treated themselves. Or one should not treat others in ways one would not want themselves to be treated. These are actually referred to in the Bible as the gold and or silver rules, by the way. But my point is, which point takes precedence? The passages that speak of a God that doesn't want homosexuals to have equal rights in acting upon their desires and their feelings and their love for one another, or the passage that tells a man who believes in God to be the best man or woman they can be and treat everyone exactly how they would like to be treated themselves. Because after all, would you want your rights trampled just because you happen to feel a different way to somebody else? No matter what your belief, if you are actually not hurting anybody, would you want that belief or opinion or view to be trampled? No matter what they are, so long as no one was getting hurt? That's the thing, and it's not just about religion or homosexuality or anything so specific. It's just about life. I'm not a particular believer, but I do still remember and hold to a lot of the things I was taught while I was growing up. Morals, ethics, being a good person. These were the messages I took from my religious upbringing. Being a good person and respecting all others despite race, religion or rainbows. The world changes, and so does science, so does religion, so does society. Black men and women are now equal with full rights, as opposed to when they were slaves once upon a time. Women are now allowed to work and vote, where once upon a time they wouldn't have been allowed to do that. Religion changes constantly. With every new pope, we've only seen it recently, but to use some other examples, masses are no longer said in Latin because it subjugates no longer the people who don't know Latin, the lower classes. And there are now so many forms of Christianity where their followers have picked and chosen the parts that they do genuinely believe in and abandoned some of the others that they don't agree in. Whereas once there was just the one form of Christianity and you had to follow that or you bust. It's not about what some millennia old book says in written ink, or even what our genes, DNA, or even physiology dictates should be the norm for physical relationships. It's about what we take from these things as individuals. There are so many different kinds of people in the world and so many different opinions and beliefs. But as the human race, we are uniquely self-aware, empathic, and conscious of everything going on around us. We are no longer dictated by instinct, based upon physiology, and we have free will for a reason. We are uniquely gifted with the compassion and empathy to understand the feelings of those around us. And that goes for both sides. Views differ, views will always differ, but it's our actions that define us as a society. Whether we choose to force those views on others, or simply accept that no matter what the situation, views will be different. Now obviously I've said all this, but the fact is there still one day has to be a decision coming down on one side or the other. And my own bias, despite my attempts to be impartial during all this, has probably made it pretty clear, from the examples I've used as well, which side I hope wins. But again, given the arguments I have used, given my reasons for even making this video, Even if homosexual equality continues to be repressed for however much longer, so long as the reasons are legitimately based in genuine faith and belief, rather than being the purpose of someone's own prejudices, I would hope those on my side would be able to respect those religious views, whether you believe or not, whether you accept religion for what it is or not, whether you think it's a right thing in this world or not. Much as you want them to respect your equality and your choices, you cannot then turn around and deny them equality in their choices, so long as they are based in genuine, and I cannot stress the word genuine enough, beliefs in the religion they follow. Yes, it is still wrong that rights are being denied. It is a very wrong thing. But until a point where society and religion can stop people having this to hide behind, whether genuinely or cowardly, is that a word? Whether you believe or agree or not, you have to respect that that is their belief. Now, I'm not proud of having to have said that because I don't agree. I really don't agree. I hate it that these rights are being trampled on, because it's not right. It's just like how we've seen it in history repeated times. But my main point is the arguments I see on the internet always turn to you're wrong, I hate you, you hate me. And that's not how this is going to get better. If you're fighting for one side's equality, you cannot trample the equality of the other side. If those who support pro-gay rights want to win this debate at any point in the future, they have to respect that. They cannot give up their principles just for their own gain. One day maybe the other side will realise what they're doing, but up until that point I cannot fault them if they genuinely believe this. And I hate saying this, but this is the problem. You can't just argue with them. It's about education. It's about chipping away at the limestone until they figure out what you're trying to say. You can't force it on them. Now, I hate that I've said this. I really do. Because I think it's wrong that gay rights is still being repressed. But the fact is, as dumb as it is, these people are only standing up for their own beliefs. Which, yes, I do believe are backward. But I can't fault them for that. If I was to fight for one side's equality, I cannot trample the other side's equality, even if their equality is wrong. But don't forget, they're looking at gay equality in very much the same way. The only way this debate is ever going to be won on what I believe is the side of right is if we never lose our principles in fighting for equality. Because if we trample their equality in the process, then we're no better than them. Now, like I said, I've probably made a hell of a lot of enemies in this video, but I really did feel like it had to be said, and well, I guess we'll see what the response is. I suppose it's probably a good thing I've only got so many subscribers, but I guess we'll see. Thanks for joining me, boys and girls. It's been tense. It's been tense. And I'll see you next time, kidders. Bye.